Hello and welcome on in to the first episode of Mounties Midweek. I'm Drew Patrick. On today's show, we meet some of the new faces in the athletic department. We'll talk with interim head sprint football coach John Evans about this season's expectations, and I go out of my league with the women's soccer team. The Mansfield cross-country team started their season with the annual Tour de Mountaineer. This tour is a 9-day trial filled with different workouts of skill, including pacing, hills, and time trials. The final event was the Colton Point time trial, a tradition dating back to 2004. It's a 745-foot climb for the men and a 645-foot climb for the women. On the men's side, Ryan Clifford charged up the hill and reached the top with a new record of 24:30. That's 17 seconds faster than the 2006 record that was previously held by Mansfield's only cross-country All-American, Chris Cummings. Clifford took the tour, setting a record for all-time points at 104 and most victories in a tour, winning 7 of the 8 stages. On the women's side, Kenzie Jones was the first to the top on Colton Point with a time of 26:30, and Lindsay Payne finished second with a personal best, gaining her 5 bonus points and giving her the solid tour win. For the complete blog on the Tour de Mountaineer, head to GoMounties.com. The cross-country team opens their season Thursday, August 30th at Bloomsburg. The Mansfield Sprint football team opened its 2018 camp Saturday at Carl Van Norman Field. The 2018 team consists of a massive 48-player freshman class to go along with their upperclassmen core. The first practice focused on technique, timing, and conditioning, as well as individual position work. I caught up with head coach John Evans after the first practice.
I thought it was a great night tonight. Our numbers are off the hook right now. Guys worked hard. We did some good things. We got a lot of work to do, but we're getting close.
Mansfield opens the regular season on September 15th against Penn at Carl Van Norman Field. 39 Mansfield University student athletes received the 2017-18 Division II Athletic Directors Association Academic Achievement Award the organization announced last Thursday. The Academic Achievement Award recognizes the academic accomplishments of student athletes at the Division II level. In order for a student athlete to receive this award, they must have a cumulative GPA of 3.5 or higher, have a minimum of 2 years of college-level work, and have been an active member of a Division II intercollegiate team during their last academic year. For the complete list of the awarded Mansfield athletes, head over to GoMounties.com. The season kicks off for the cross-country team and the women's soccer team this week. Thursday, August 30th, both teams are in Bloomsburg as the cross-country team is taking part in the Bloomsburg Duel at 5 p.m., and the women's soccer team opens the John Shaffer era at 7 p.m. The women's soccer team is then back in action Saturday as the Mansfield faithful get their first look at this squad as Pitt Johnstown comes into town. The match will begin at 1:30 at Carl Van Norman Field, and that matchup can also be seen on Mountie All Access. And don't you go anywhere. When we come back, we'll meet some of those new faces in Mansfield athletics. We are back here. This time we are joined by a new face here on the campus of Mansfield University, and that is Mr. John Shaffer, the interim women's soccer coach. Coach, thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
So let's start. What ultimately drew you to this Mansfield job here?
I mean, coaching college soccer is my dream job. and this is a dream job in a dream location. I currently teach as well at Wellsboro. My wife and her entire family is from Wellsboro, so once we got married and had 2 kids, I wasn't going to be moving. We weren't going to be moving for a college job. So I always looked at this job as my dream job. And when the opening came about, I had to throw my name in the ring and go for it, because it really is the dream job and the dream location.
And you come with a lot of success building up a team at Wellsboro High School. The guys team coming off of district champions. First, how hard was it to leave those guys?
One of the hardest days of my life. I had agreed to take this position a couple weeks before I told them, and it was all hush hush, and I couldn't tell them until I actually signed the contract and made it public. And so having to see them at training sessions and having to be around them was hard. We just built such a rapport with them that saying goodbye, at least for this year, was really hard. But I know they're in good hands with the assistant coach, Todd Fitch, and they've had a great preseason so far, so that made it a little bit easier.
And so that program you built there, as I mentioned, coming off of district championship, what was the key there that you think you can bring?
I think the key is hard work and mastering the fundamentals. I told the girls this earlier last week, that I think that no matter what level, whether it be high school, college, or even professionally, the teams that do the fundamentals the best, the cleanest, make the fewest mistakes, are the teams with the most success, no matter how much flash and maybe extra technical players you have. If you do the fundamentals well, you can be successful. So that's what we're focused on here, just focusing on the fundamentals individually and as a team.
Coming from that, it's not your first foray into coaching the women's side of soccer either, as you were the women's coach there at Wellsboro before the men. So what would you describe your coaching style as? And does it change with, obviously from high school to college it'll change, but does it change from a men to a women's standpoint?
I love this question, and it kind of varies depending on what coaches you talk to. To me, it doesn't matter. I coach men and women the same. My coaching style is built on relationships. I like to form a relationship with them. I told the girls Sunday night at our first team meeting that I view them as people first, players second, and I want to get to know them as a person first, and then we'll talk about the soccer later. It's actually easier doing that with girls, because guys tend to just want to be told what to do and go out and play, and so it's actually sometimes a bit easier to form relationships and talk about, how are you feeling and what's going on, because I think men and women both, they want to be cared about. They just show it differently, and boys want to be cared for. They just don't want to show that they care, but I tell them I care about them no matter who I coach, and that's why forming a relationship is so important. You can't care about people if you don't know them.
And just in these short couple of weeks, do you think that relationship is going well with this group? And from what I've seen, they've bought in. But from your perspective, do you think that this group is buying into your philosophy?
Yeah, I think so, and it's all based on honesty. I came in and night one at our team meeting, my assistant coach Scott and I, we were very honest about the situation we were in, that I'm an interim head coach, and he's traveling up from York to be here when he can. We were honest about the situation the program's in, and we said, look, this is where we're at, this is where we want to go, and let's start going there together. I didn't try to sell them anything. I just was very honest on who I was. And again, I think honesty gets through to them. I think they've bought in just because I've been honest and I've been real with them, and they've been honest with me.
And you mentioned this program's coming off of a bit of a downswing. Last year was a frustrating year for this program. How do you address that, or do you try to avoid last year completely?
We spoke a little bit about last year, our first team meeting, that Sunday night we came in, and I said I was going to reference it then and let them reference it that night, and then we were moving on. Obviously, it's in everyone's head, and I'm sure it'll creep up here and there, but we're trying to make a clean slate. I haven't hid my hopes of getting the full-time job. And so I've told the girls that starting that Sunday night and going through preseason, I view it as Mansfield Soccer 2.0. Coach Dempsey was amazing and started this program and gave, I think, 16 or 17 years to this university and starting the program. And so I just hope to lead the program version 2.0 to the next level. And I told the seniors they could go down as legends because they could be the 3 girls that, if we buy in and if we do this year could be the year that starts the program, climbing up the PSAC mountain. Big junior class of girls as well. And so that's just kind of how we dealt with it.
And one of those seniors coming back from injury in goal, it helps to have an all-conference goalie back. But of course, she is coming back from injury. Where's the delicate balance with Rachel Fox to you want to get her ready and she wants to get ready, but you also have to be cautious of that injury? Where's the balance there?
Well, she's a senior, so she's an adult. So you treat her like an adult, you treat her like a professional. And again, it comes back to honesty. I tell her, look, you got to tell me when you feel a bit of an injury or when you feel soreness. You got to tell me when you're feeling good, and I'll trust you. She's such a great natural talent, and she works hard, and her mind is brilliant. She understands the game. She's a great leader. And so it's just about honesty. It's about, work as hard as you can, but if you tell me you need rest, then I'm going to rest you.
And of course, a lot of those eyeballs are going to be on Rachel Fox, but what are some of the other names that we should be looking out for?
I'm a believer in the team game, and so, obviously, Bria up top, Kay and Eleni E in the midfield, but across the back, Chelsea's a brilliant center back, Bree Murphy and Sierra at outside backs. I hate to go through the whole roster, but seriously, it's such a team game. Megan Noon coming in as a freshman is going to plug right in at center back. She's been huge. Sally and Jaden and Alex Biddle, Little, Brianna, Cecilia, just the whole team, top to bottom. We have a junior transfer in Chris Roberts. The whole team, and I apologize to any of the girls I left out, but the entire team, what we've done is figured out a rule for every girl, and if they buy into that rule, and if they do their job and not feel like they have to do too much, which I think some of them felt like they had to do too much, if they just do their job. So if all Rachel does is focus on leading the defense, if all the defenders do is focus on their small responsibilities, then if each player just does their job, I think we can be successful.
With that team mindset, is that easier, especially as a coach, to look at that and easier to coach that style as opposed to trying to do some star ball?
I think so, but you have to have the players. If I had a player who was very selfish, then it would be difficult to possibly get that player to buy in. But I've been unbelievably lucky that the 21 girls I have in the locker room, they all buy in. They are unbelievably unselfish. They are doing what the team needs to be done, or doing what needs to be done to help the team. And that's made my job really easy.
And Coach, coming up here very quickly, the start of the season this Thursday, and then home here in front of this crowd, first chance for the Mansfield faithful to see you this Saturday. What are going to be your jitters? Before we get into the team, what are your jitters do you expect to have during those two games?
I think I'm already feeling the jitters for Thursday night going to Bloomsburg, a very good team. Just the unexpected. I've coached at the high school level, at the highest level there. I've coached at some very big club levels, but it's still the unexpected. And I thankfully I have quite a few friends in college coaching and in the PSAC especially, and they've tried to give me a heads up for it, but there's still going to be that one moment where something happens and I think, wow, maybe I've never experienced this before. But that goes back to what I told the girls. I said, I think the game is based on fundamentals, and you can't let the game get too big. I can't let the game get too big for me. I need to focus on the fundamentals and not let the PSAC atmosphere get to me and just focus on this is what we need to do. And then I'm just excited for Saturday, the home opener. We're actually getting it moved to the turf at 1:30, and so I'm just so excited for the home opener because the girls have been working so hard, and I want the Mansfield faithful to see what we're doing.
And of course, that game can be seen on Mountie All Access for those of you who maybe can't get out here. We will have that game in its entirety for you. So plenty of ways to check out this team. So finally, Coach, what are your expectations, not only for this weekend, but for the season?
We talked about this in terms of goal setting and in terms of you have to control what you can control. One of our core values is control what you can control and learn from the rest. So when we set our team goals, we didn't talk about wins and losses because we can't necessarily control that. The opposition could do something amazing, and we could play the best game we could play and not get the result. So my goal for the team is that we do our responsibilities, that we play to our expectations. And so it comes back to, again, trying to simplify the game. Give each player a job, give each group of players a job, and if you do that job over 90 minutes, it gives you a chance to win. So I'm looking at it really small scale, and when I'll go back and watch film, I'll grade the players on did they do their jobs, and if they did their jobs, we get the result or we don't get the result. But for me, it's a more positive way of looking at it.
All right, Coach Shaffer, thank you so much for stopping by.
Thank you.
And we will be right back with more. Do not go anywhere.
It's a small community, close-knit, it's beautiful. Now, as we join UPMC, it just opens a whole new world.
Together, UPMC and Susquehanna Health are bringing life-changing medicine to north central Pennsylvania.
UPMC brings extraordinary innovation to virtually every aspect of the work we do.
Exchanging ideas, sharing research, it's a tremendous opportunity to learn in real time with world-class experts.
Changing lives every day. UPMC Susquehanna.
Welcome back here to Sports Talk. We continue to talk new faces and new roles with actually a familiar face here with Coach John Evans, now the interim head coach here for the Mansfield Sprint football team. John, thanks for joining me.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
So this year, one of the big things, you take over here as head coach. What did that mean to you to get this interim role?
Well, I've been here, this is my 6th year here, and we've had some, let's just say we've had some not great years. We came in January 6th, a couple staff stayed on, and we've changed the culture. In my opinion, that'll change the environment, and I think the environment has created a winning atmosphere here right now.
So what is the key to changing the culture? As a head coach here, you've mentioned the years haven't been very nice to Mansfield Sprint football. How do you go about changing that culture?
Well, I think it starts with rules, discipline. I mean, we are a college football program. A lot of the guys aren't used to the rules and getting up at 6 in the morning to lift and are late and that. So we've pretty much cut ties with the guys that can't buy into what we want to do.
And part of that, a monster freshman class coming in. How important is it for those freshmen to buy in so quickly? Because the bulk of your team is that group.
It's huge right now, Drew. 48 freshmen were out on the field the other night, along with 4 very good transfers. When we recruited them, they're all our recruits, that's a first. I inherited a lot of guys when I got here. These are all our kids, and they know what to expect when they got here.
And who out of that group do you think is going to stand out, or who has stood out? Yes, only a couple practices under your belt, but who has stood out so far?
Well, obviously, a late addition to the team. 2 weeks ago, we got Quinn Henry from Wellsboro, Pennsylvania, probably one of the top kids in the state. A lot of Division I looks, and he was going to college out in Iowa. Decided to stay home. So that's a huge addition for us.
And also, you mentioned another of the transfers coming in. Who has stood out to you?
We've got Jaden Walker, a running back out of Carson Newman University. He's from Nashville, Tennessee. In my opinion right now, is probably the best back in the league, along with his former teammate in high school and best friend, DeJuan Bowie, who transferred in here from Shaw University as a free safety. And again, they're just great kids. They're coachable. They're coming out of good programs, and they're fantastic athletes.
So the captains of this team, how important is it for them to really set the tone, have that leadership for this huge group of freshmen?
Well, the players voted for the captains, and it worked out just exactly the way we wanted it to work out. If we were to select them, we were hoping it would come out that way, and it did. We've got strong leadership. Derek McLean, one of the top receivers in the league, only a junior this year, but he's by far a leader on this team, along with Andrew Schwenk, a linebacker, and then 2 all-league linemen, Tristan Ciccio and Steve Cecilia. They bring a wealth of leadership to the team.
So it's always unique with sprint football how important conditioning, I mean really every sport, but especially in this where you can't really bully your way anyway by just throwing around weight, because everyone is around that same weight. So how important is it, especially early in the season before games come, for your team to focus on conditioning?
It's big, and the emphasis the first 2 practices have been on conditioning. Saturday they sprinted off and on over 700 yards. Yesterday was probably a little bit more. For us to be able to compete with premier programs, Army and Navy and Penn and Cornell, we need to be able to hang right in there with them. And traditionally we've died in the fourth quarter, and that's a conditioning thing. So we want to be able to hang right in there for a full 4 quarters. And I do believe with this group we will.
And joining you this year is a very confident staff. Tell me about some of these people you have brought on your staff and what they add to this program.
Tony Pulio this will be his 3rd year with us. He's coached the linebackers the first 2 years, and he's the defensive coordinator this year. He brings a wealth of experience and knowledge of the game. Richard Conrad, who coached out at Northwood University Division II, this is his 2nd year with us, and he's the co-offensive coordinator. He again was with us last year. He's responsible for a lot of these recruits that came in. We brought in Pat Maddock from upstate New York. Pat's been just retired from the Sheriff's Department. He's got 20 years of offensive coordinator experience up in the New York State area with some of the better high schools up there. We just brought in Kevin Short to coach the defensive backs. He's played 5 years in the NFL. He really is a very strong defensive back coach and helps us out a lot. Coaching the receivers this year is Chris Rowland. He comes to us from Alfred State University, also Bowling Green University, a very knowledgeable coach who's doing a great job with the receivers.
And Coach, looking at this season, I know we're very early on, but what is your goal for this team?
First goal is to beat Penn. Obviously, we're going to take them one at a time. We can't look down the road. This year they've added a championship game, and that's the ultimate goal, is to get to the championship game on November 15th. But it starts with Penn, and I think Penn's the key to our season this year. We get by Penn, the rest of the season should fall in place.
All right, Coach, well, thank you so much for stopping by.
Thank you.
And we will be right back with more sports talk after this.
I think that the strengths of the program are the professors.
Actively care about making you a better teacher.
To go into the schools from your freshman year.
We're in the classroom almost every semester that we are here at Mansfield.
Welcome back for more sports talk. Another new face here on campus is Chardonay Hope. Is going to be an assistant coach, or is an assistant coach here for Brittany Hansroth. Chardonay, thanks for joining me.
No, thank you.
So why Mansfield University? What was it about this role that you wanted?
So my coach from Kutztown, this is actually her alma mater, and Britt was an assistant at Kutztown, so they were already close. And going out of college, I honestly didn't know what I wanted to do, and my coach actually mentioned to me like this job was opening. So kind of all of this was like one big round circle while I'm here, just because big connections to that.
You know, I'm fascinated by the dynamic, because literally not a year ago, these were competitors that you were against, and now you're coaching them. How is that dynamic, and is that an easy switch to flip?
I thought it would be hard because I'm like actually their age, so I thought just adjusting and be able to have a coach and athlete like relationship was going to be hard, but it's actually not. I think they actually respect me, and I think since I'm right out of college and right out of this conference, I think I can actually be a good person for them to look to, because I know exactly like their mentality going into these games, and I like actually feel for them. Like I'm still like in the competitor mindset, so like I get equally as excited for them to scrimmage and to play, and I think I know their potential just because I competed with them. So I think like that's actually going to take them to like a good level, because I tell them every day, like, I played against you, like I know what you can do, like let's go, like let's do this to other teams.
And you know, you played in the PSAC, so you know what kind of competition they're about to face. So how much does that help, coming from it now as the coach point of view? How does that help that you know exactly what kind of competition they're going to face?
Well, I've seen every single team in this conference either grow or lose important players, and I think Mansfield is like in such a great spot right now with their talent. Even playing them at Kutztown, like it was a 2-1 game, like, and that's a big game in field hockey, a very exciting game, and they've upset some big teams, and they, out of a lot of schools, they haven't lost many people. So I think that they just need to understand. I tell them every day, I'm like, this school has this many people coming back, you guys almost have everyone, like, let's go. It's like, this is like a really another year where you guys can like impact like this school and this conference.
And you know what? Another fun, interesting dynamic. Of course, the back and forth you and Brittany Ryan had with the PSAC, and then All-American. And now, seeing her from a coach point of view, what have you seen from Brittany?
She is so good. I like, honestly, even just being her competition, I would like look at her stats and like, oh my gosh, like, this goalie is giving me a run for my money. And even she doesn't believe how good she is, and I think it's like insane, because that girl makes some stops, and I'm like, and she'll like critique it, and I'm like, oh, as your coach, I thought that was amazing. But like, that's just the athlete in her. Like, even to her, I know, like me, I would have been like, oh, like this girl's my competition, why is she my coach now? To her, she like just has so much respect for me, and I have so much respect for her, and I think it's like a good relationship. We had different playing styles, so we have back and forth impact and like criticism on like different things. So I think it's going to make her an even stronger goalkeeper, just having my style play on top of just her amazing play, obviously, just going into this conference.
And who else have you seen that has really stood out in these early practices?
Christy Byer, a lot. And I knew she was on the team, but I actually found a picture the other day of her like taking a shot on goal at me at Kutztown. And just ever since then, I just like, this girl is like going to be unstoppable on the forward line. Like, she's really stepped up as a leader. Like, she's very vocal with the team. Like, her fitness test and everything, like, going into like her this season, like I think she's going to be like a force to reckon with.
And you know, the preseason rankings came out, Mansfield 9th. Do you guys use that as motivation for this year?
Yes, I think big time. I think they ended in a good spot. Like, they were 7th, that's 2 spots away from playoffs, and I think they were kind of a little disheartened, just because like you would think like you make just such these monumental steps in this game, and then you get pushed back to where you were. So before I even built relationships with the girls, like going into our preseason meeting, I was like, come, you know where you are. It was like, this is what you need to use. It was like, if people are going to look at you as the underdog again, like fine, so be it. It was like, just no let up. Like, you know where you left off. Like, 9th means nothing.
And I know as coaches you don't like looking ahead, but September 25th, I'm sure you have that circled on your schedule. You go back home to Kutztown. What do you think your emotions are going to be like in that game?
Very, very torn. I actually talked to Coach Bray about this a lot, because that team is another team that they deserve to be in playoffs and deserve to win. Like, Kutztown was also a building program like Mansfield, and I left there. We only gone to playoff once in my 4 years, and I'm so ready for them to like hit the scene. But then it's also like, I'm like, I want my girls to win now, and I'm excited. It's going to be a good game, because like I know there's going to be things that the girls in Kutztown are going to be doing that with my teammates, and I'm like, oh darn, that was so good. But then I really have high hopes that Mansfield can compete with them.
But does that give you an advantage too? Like, you played with this.
Well, even then, no, because I couldn't even read my teammates on Sundays. Just being in goal on their team, like I would watch some of my teammates play, and like, where did this even come from? Like, how'd she do that? And I've just watched so many of those girls like grow into like great field hockey players. So I don't even know like what's going to happen or how their season's going to go. I'm excited to just see how that blossoms out too.
And then here for Mansfield, what are your expectations for this team?
I think that these girls definitely can make playoffs, and as a coach, I don't think they're at a point. They're still like in the underdog mindset, and my goal is to get them out of that mindset that you are a competitor. You're not just this team that comes for the upset. Like, you're a team that people want to upset because like they are good. And I think a big goal is the girls want to improve on their record from last year, but I can't help them do that. So my goal as a coach is just to give them that confidence to know that they can do that. Like, they don't need me to push them to do that. It's all within themselves.
So I'll get you out of here on this Kids Night Out coming up. There's one this weekend, Friday. What do you expect from that?
I hope we get a lot of numbers since it's a fundraiser for field hockey and women's basketball. It should be fun. There's going to be a lot of arts and crafts and like swimming, and we're going to do a lot of like indoor sports with them, like volleyball and even some basketball. So since it's a closer knit community in a smaller area, I really hope that parents need a break already, especially in this first week, and bring their kids out, because it would really be a big fundraiser opportunity. And I know like a lot of like the athletes do like giving back, especially with an event like this, to be like personal with kids. Like, kids really look up to like athletes, and I think it'll be like really cool. They'll be really excited.
All right. Well, I'm excited for that. I'm excited for this season. And Chardonay, thank you so much for stopping by. And we'll be right back with more. Do not go anywhere.
From court to court and lane to lane, under the lights or under the sun, no one delivers Division II sports like NCAA.com. The center of D2 is inside the NCAA.com hub, with exclusive highlights of every sport and live broadcasts of every Division II championship found nowhere else. Make NCAA.com yours, the home of Division II college sports.
Hey, I'm Drew Patrick. This is the Mansfield women's soccer team, and I am out of my league. Again, am I ready emotionally or physically? Neither. My day started with doing a couple goalie drills to test agility and main focus, and it went okay.
Yeah.
Ready?
I'm not sure you're going to be on yet, but we do want it.
All right, you guys, how am I supposed to stand? Right here? All right, I got it. Got it. 3, 2, 4, 1, 2, 3. Good job. Good job.
Okay, so the first time through wasn't terrible, so let's try a second.
Ready, Mark?
Let's do it.
Here we go. 4. Get there. 3, 4, 3, 4, 1. Work, Drew. 2, 1, 2. Rest, you're ready. Woo! You're ready to go full. Yeah. Yes.
Then came the moment of truth. It was time to put me into the goal. Starting off easy, just a couple of chip shots.
Probably catch it. Are you a third grade girl or yes. Okay, here we go. The skill level of a third grade girl.
Well, that's incredibly embarrassing.
Good job. Catch it, good job. Oh, get down faster. There's one.
He's good at
Okay, good job. All right, first step down.
Then came the tough stuff, and well, it went downhill from there.
Now, very simple, from the penalty spot. Here we go, you stand on that yellow line. Here we go, from the penalty spot. Tina, grab me a couple of balls. Ready? Probably not, but let's go. Ooh. There's one. All right. Oh, get up! Oh, good job, Drew. Oh. One for two. 1 for 2. That's pretty good. 1 for 3, best out of 5. Come on, make these saves. Make these saves, Drew. You can do it. Oh. Good job. All right, 2 out of 4. It all comes down to this.
Oh boy.
It all comes down to this. Do you have dental insurance?
I don't. Yes.
Okay, perfect. Good job, Drew.
All right, 2 for 5. It's not terrible. It's not great. But I did something.
Sally, come on out here. I need your help.
So 2 for 5 on penalty kick defense. How about a breakaway? And let's see if I could stop that.
Get up a little bit. Success rate of this is -30.
Yeah, but I want rotating the point of attack. Rotating the point of attack. Ready? Yeah. Go. Come out, Drew. Come out, Drew. Come out. Close the angle. Oh!
Yes! It happened! Yes!
One more, Sally. One more, Sally.
I'm intimidating!
Oh, you're something.
Ah!
You're something. Oh, he's a big boy. He's fine, Sally. Here we go. Come out, Drew. Come out. Come out. Woo! Don't slide.
Ah!
Good job, Sally. Don't hurt yourself. All right, you good?
Oh yeah.
All right. Good.
All right, step 2 coming up. I couldn't stop the ball from scoring, but maybe I'll be better on the other end of it. Maybe I'll be better at scoring the ball. Probably not, but we'll see.
Okay, be on balance. I'm gonna serve you a ball, Drew. I'm gonna serve you a ball. Ready? Almost, BK. Just gotta get the timing a little bit better, Drew.
All right.
All right? Timing a little bit better.
I'm gonna score on the all-conference goalie here. Oh!
All right, too strong.
The kick is good!
Okay, Barry Bonds. I'm gonna serve a ball in the air, and you're gonna try to head it into the goal, okay? All right?
This is gonna go worse.
You can do it, Drew. I believe in you.
Mama always said use your head.
All right? Here we go, Drew.
Don't know if it applies here.
We'll start off easy. I'll toss it. Back up a little bit, cheater. Back up a little bit right there. Okay, here we go. Here we go. There you go, Drew. There you go. Not bad. Not bad. All right, so you can do it off a toss. Let's see if you can do it off a service.
All right.
Ready?
As ready as I'm gonna be.
Here we go.
Oh. Ah.
You could have kicked it. You could have kicked it. All right. Diving header.
Oh, am I diving at it? Okay.
Hey, back up a little bit. Back up a little bit. Then when I put my hand down, just start running, okay?
Okay.
What do you got? What do you got?
I can't giggle, let alone.
All right, Drew, here we go. We'll get another one in.
All right. We'll get this, I promise.
Back up, back up. Ready? Oh, that was my fault. One more, Drew. They can edit that out. They do magical things with computers. One more, one more. Get it! Get it!
There's a great way to end it. Me falling on my face. There was no truthfully better way that this could end. Let's see what I graded out, though. Coach Shaffer, on a scale of A to F, what's my report card?
A to F.
Only F? I would say for having no background, I would give you a solid C+. That was pretty good.
Thank you.
Yeah. I give a 10 on the that dismount was pretty good.
Good job, Drew. Good job, Drew. I hate to tell you, but I don't think there's a scholarship available.
Well, I tried.
Thank you, Drew. Thanks for all your work here.
I think we learned very quickly that here I'm out of my league.
Thank you, man.
Thank you.
And that is all we have for you this week. For more Mountaineer athletic news, head over to GoMounties.com and stay tuned for next week as we will have the return of Play of the Week. You won't want to miss that. Thank you so much for watching.